Hello everyone. So this week we are going to continue on public communication skills on the second topic. How to select a topic, analyzing the audience, multicultural audience. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so the most important and most difficult step in the speech making is how to choose the topic. So what are the topics that you think appropriate for you to choose to deliver it to your friends? Okay, so the first step of speech topic is to determine. How to choose a topic is for you to determine the occasion. Okay, what kind of occasions that you're going to have. Okay, the audience. Who will be the audience? And also the third one is the speaker's qualification. Do you have the qualifications, or are you knowledgeable enough to talk about the topic? Okay, next, topics you know a lot about. You can also deliver a topic or choose a topics that you know a lot about. Okay, so because it is a subject matter that you know a lot, so you might want to use it for your topic. Okay, next, most people speak best about subjects that you are familiar with. So you can do this by drawing your own knowledge and based on your personal experience. Next, think for a moment about unusual experience that you may have recently, or a special knowledge or expertise that you required maybe during the holidays, or a special items or artifacts that you inherit from your grandparents that you might own. That might be interesting as well. Okay, next, you can also choose topics that you want to know more about. You can choose a subject you may already have some knowledge or expertise about but not enough to prepare a speech. So you can choose topic that hasn't touched you at all before. Okay, you want to challenge yourself, so you can choose something that you have not explored before. You may choose subject about which you hold strong opinions also and belief. So can you think of anything that caught your interest? What would be the best topic for your speech? Okay, once you have choose the topic, the next thing you need to do is to narrow down the topic. So it is possible to say everything, right? Everything that you have gathered information. So you might want to choose what to narrow it down, or to be specific on the things that you want to deliver. So a good informative speech must be specific. Okay, bear that in your mind that you will have like 6 to 7 minutes to present the information. Okay, so a good informative speech must be specific, meaning that you need to limit your topic to one particular aspect only. So look at the examples given. The topics is about hurricane, right? Hurricane is too general to be talked about. So you might want to talk about one, you can talk about preparing for hurricanes. Okay. Second topic, you might want to talk about the dangerous effects of the hurricanes or how hurricanes develop. Okay, next, make sure that it contain only one idea, the topic. Okay, so let's look at the examples given. So bad examples: choosing a hotel and buying a car in a foreign country. So here you have two topics: how to choose a hotel and how to buy a car in a foreign country. So it might distract your focus on how to give the speech. Which one you want to talk about? Choose a hotel or buying a car? So good examples might be choosing a hotel in a foreign country, or you can talk about buying a car in a foreign country. Okay, next is it should be achievable. Okay, the topic. Make sure the audience is able to understand what you're going to convey. Okay, remember something after your speech is over. So bad example is how to weave an oriental rug. This is a very difficult topic, okay, for a demonstrative speech. How to weave. Maksudnya how to anyam oriental rug. Okay, it involves a complicated process, so it is impossible for you to demonstrate to your friends. So a good example might be how to buy an oriental rug. which is much more simpler and achievable for you to deliver the speech. Okay, so please remember, once you have the topic, you need to narrow it down. Okay, narrow down meaning that it should be specific, it should contain only one idea, and it should be achievable. Okay, next, you need to determine the preview of the speech. Okay, what does it mean by determine the preview? Okay, if you look at the picture here, there is a hook. Okay, and then you have the worm on the hook. So the reader is a fish. So the preview should be the thesis statement. So what kind of worms that can attract the fish? So that is what you need to include in the preview. So a concise statement that contains the topic, aim points in the body paragraph. So sometimes called thesis statement, or in essay writing you call it thesis statement, right? In the introduction paragraph. So thesis statement or preview will be in the introduction paragraph. Okay, so how are you going to write a preview or a thesis statement? So let's say that you have the topic emergency, right? You want to talk about emergency. So the preview should be specific. So the 3 major steps in responding to an emergency are, so you be specific of what you want to talk about the emergency. The 3 major steps in responding to an emergency. Okay, so what are the 3 major steps? The first one, surveying the scene. Second, contacting an emergency medical service. And C, starting CPR if needed. So in your speech, you should come up with 3 main points, okay, to support your topic. Remember, you must have the topic and then stated the preview, what you want to deliver in your speech, the 3 major steps. Okay, and then next, let's look at, once you have the topic, once you already choose the topic, you be specific of what you want to talk about, come up with the objective, and then let's look at how are you going to analyze the audience. Audience is very important. To know your audience is very important before you deliver your speech. So usually the audience hear what they want to hear and they will disregard the rest. Okay, they don't care what about the rest. So some are egocentric, which they are concerned about their own values, beliefs, and also well-being. So as a public speaker, you must adopt this idea of audience-centeredness. Okay, so your audience should be the focus when you preparing your speech. So your aim is to adjust to the concern of the audience, not to show how much you know about a variety of issue. Okay, you are not going to show off how much knowledge that you know. Okay, the most important thing is in your speech is to make your audience understand. So how are you going to do this audience analysis? So we are going to look at how are you going to analyze your audience. So the first one will be demographic audience analysis. Okay, what does it mean by demographic? Demographic is the structure of the population, the structure of your audience. Okay, the first one is we are looking at the age. Please look at the age of your audience, whether the topic is suitable for your audience. Okay, different generation might like a different topics. Okay, so for example, baby boomers generation, Generation X, Generation Y, and millennials. Okay, next is gender. So do not generalize all your audience as being of the same gender. So avoid using sexist language. Some topics might be suitable for only the male audience, but not suitable for the female. So make sure you adapt to the audience gender when you choose the topic. Okay, racial, ethnic, and also cultural background. So people of different backgrounds, they will have a different customs and they believe in different things. So be aware that some listeners might have a racial, ethnic, and also cultural perspective, meaning that their background or cultural background might not agree with what you are going to deliver in your speech. Next is religion, the same thing with the racial, ethnic, and cultural background. So do not touch on any sensitivity issues about religion. Okay, group membership. So a human are very group oriented, right? For example, you in your class, you will have your different gang with you. You prefer to do works with your own groups, right? So the same thing when you deliver a speech. For example, if you were to talk about, you can't be talking about Manchester United football club in front of Liverpool fans. They might not enjoy and they might not appreciate what you're going to talk about. So provide excellent clues about your listeners' interests and also their attitudes. Okay, next. Okay. How to do this? Oh, yeah. Okay, next we're going to look at the situational audience analysis. Okay, this one is focused on situational factors. So the first one is the size of the room. Okay, for example, if you are giving a speech in the classroom, so you might want to look at the size of the the room or the hall. Okay, so that will be you will be prepared to to deliver your speech. So the larger the audience, the more formal your presentation must be. Next, number 2 is physical setting. So physical setting is everything about the room as well. When you face any speaking situation, it is important for you to know in advance, okay, whether there will be difficulties with the physical settings. Okay, whether there is enough chairs in the room, whether you have fan to make your audience comfortable or not. Okay, the setting arrangement. Okay, number 3 is disposition towards the towards the topic. So what is disposition? Disposition is a usual way of feeling or behaving. Okay, for example, number 1, so disposition towards the topic, interest. Outside the classroom, people do not often expend the time and effort to attend speech, right? Unless they are interested on what the speaker is saying. So you need to adjust the interest. Okay, you make sure that you know the interest of your audience. Next is the knowledge. There is often a strong correlation between the interest in a topic and also the knowledge about it, right? So your audience tend to interested in what they only know about. So likewise, they're not going to listen to you. So that when you are preparing the speech, you might want to think about the tricks of how are you going to enhance your knowledge about the topics. Next is attitude of your listeners towards your topic also can be extremely important in determining the how you handle the materials. Okay, so you should know that in advance the attitude among your audience, your friends, right? So that you can adjust how you're going to address the topic to your audience. Number 4 is disposition towards the speaker like you. Okay, audience response. How does the audience responds to you? Okay, disposition towards the occasion. Okay, no matter what the situation, the listeners have fairly definite ideas. They will have a lot of ideas of what you're going to talk about. So the most important thing is for you to, as long as the topic that you are talking about is suitable with the occasion, then everything should be fine. Okay, next. Okay, last one. How do you adapt to the audience or adapting to the audience? So before the speech, so there are 2 major stages. Before the speech, what you must do, you must keep your audience in mind at every stage of the speech preparations. Okay, how you adapt to your audience before the speech. Try to keep your listener constantly in mind and anticipate how they will respond to your speech. Number 2 is audience adaptation during the speech. So during the speech, you might want to adjust the topics throughout the speech or presentation itself. Okay. Okay, next. Okay, this is a video. You can watch it later, so that it will give you some ideas how are you going to do about if you have like more than different background of your audience, meaning that from a different culture. Okay, next, learning to communicate with others from different backgrounds and cultures can be very rewarding, but you must avoid certain pitfalls. Okay, so let's look at the first one. If you look at the cartoon script here, this is in a grocery store, right? So this one person, the right person, was saying, "Oh my God, look who is here in my store." If you to come up with this kind of dialogues, meaning that you are being biased. Bias is a rigid set of beliefs and expectation about people in certain group that reflect your attitudes or bias towards the group. So stereotype of form based on easily visible characteristic such as a gender, okay, female or male, race, Indian, Chinese, Malay, Kazakh, okay, religion, Muslim, Islam, Hindu, occupation, place of residence of each. So being biased can be a form of this such of characteristics. Okay, next is ethnocentrism. Ethnocentrism is a belief that our way of life is the right and superior, so it's not always bad. But in the milder form, when you are expressing patriotism and natural pride, that will be fine of being ethnocentrism. But if you say that, if you are goes beyond that, it will includes the rejection of others and it will become a negative. Okay, for example, if you look at the lady here, perfect. Really, no cuisine is as good as ours. So she believes that her cuisine is the best. It's a classic example of ethnocentrism. Or you can say that, or you can also say that, oh, my mother's cooking is the best in the world. So you are being ethnocentrism. Next is sexism and gender stereotyping. Sexism and gender stereotyping is making a broad generalization about men and women based on outmoded assumption, based on some assumption. So this can affect almost all cultural backgrounds. Can be a mode of discrimination. Okay, so avoid using a generic use masculine nouns or pronouns. So instead of addressing he or him or man in your speech, so you should address both the gender. Okay, all humans, all people. Right, next, racism. Racism is also a big issue, right? All around the world, not only to be said in Malaysia. Because blatant racism and discrimination are no longer socially acceptable in all countries. So what is used nowadays is a symbol of racism, which is expressed subtly. So we normally use it to refer to the other race that we are more superior than they are. For example, people say that Malay are lazy, right? And then Indians are something, for example. So those are being racism. Okay, so we need to stop touching on racism issues in your speech. Okay, so I think that's all. So when you review the lesson later, please continue with the quiz. Okay, so that's all. Thank you.